10 runter, Mann. Bitches, es gibt kein Kuss auf die Hand. Nur Fotos plus Autogramm. Easy, easy, tamam, tamam. Immer rufen die Kunden mich an. Und sie bringen mich um den Verstand. Heute schneit es 100 Gramm. No Sekunde, tamam, tamam. Hab eine Mali. Rock, rock your body. Durch die Stadt im Ferrari mit Kachbass und Barbies zu einer 80er-Party. Red nicht von an, der Beat geht babam, babam. Beste Ware aus Amsterdam. Easy, easy, tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Easy, easy, tamam, tamam. Egal wo ich hingehe, ich werd erkannt. Frag mal warum, weil ich bin bekannt. Nobu Malibu, wer kann, der kann. Easy, easy, tamam, tamam. Pronto, pronto, Avantiland. Komm mir nicht mit Volland, Filan. Eine Faust, dein Koffer, sieht an. No Sekunde, tamam, tamam. Hab eine Mali. Rock, rock your body. Fahr mit Hassan und Ali auf Schnaps und Bacardi zu einer 80er-Party. Red nicht von an, der Beat geht babam, babam. Beste Ware aus Amsterdam. Easy, easy, tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Easy, easy, tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Easy, easy, tamam, tamam.
To the day 3 of MilenCo 2020. Woo! I hope you enjoyed the second day of the conference. We enjoyed it for sure. And before we start with our second guest today, I have a very, very special person coming here to talk to me. So welcome, Mikalai. Woo! What an intro. How are you doing, Mika? This is amazing. And how was the second day of the conference for you?
It was crazy. Most of us had functional tracks. Actually, everyone of us had functional tracks. And I think it was a great time to reconnect with the commission, to reconnect with all the ISEC in Germany, and for all the members, team leaders, VPs, and LCPs to learn a lot of new things that can support them to become better ISECers and better human beings in the future. So it was a very lit day for sure.
Amazing. And what was your highlight?
Actually, my first live stream opening was Akin yesterday, because he also invited me as an external speaker. And I really feel like a TV star in this kind of moments. You know, you sit on the couch, it feels like in a TV studio. And yeah, as a kid, I always wanted to become a TV star. So now my dream kind of came true.
Dreams come true for sure.
Hello, Mom. I'm so proud to be here.
And as you might have guessed or not, you cannot see it here. So today is also about one of our leadership qualities, as all of the days, and today is all about solution orientation. So Mika, what does it mean for you to be solution oriented?
Such an unexpected question, Carolina. Very interesting. Let me think about it. Solution orientation for me actually starts with the belief that it is not about if something is possible, but with the belief, with the question that you ask yourself. So when there is a challenge that you have, you don't ask yourself if it's possible, you ask yourself how it is possible. So whatever there is, don't ask yourself if something's possible, but how it is possible. I have a situation, I wanted to go to Germany for 1 year. And then I applied in my university for an academic year, because if I wouldn't have holidays from the university, the army would take me to go to the army. And I didn't want to go to the army. I think no one wants to go to the army. So then I wrote like the Antrag, the the official letter to the university, but they declined it. So then I thought, okay, maybe I cannot go to Germany, but I asked myself, okay, what is still possible to do? How can I still get it? And then I went to this director of the university and made a personal appointment, talked to her, and then managed to do this. So in the end, it was not about if it was possible, but about how it was possible. So always ask yourself this question, and then every challenge can be solved.
This is very true. So now you're also here in Germany.
Woo!
Amazing. And what are you most excited for today?
I think I will say what I'm excited about later on after our external speaker, because it is something very, very special that all of us have been waiting for a very long time.
I agree. So let's wait, let's keep the tension high, and let's welcome our second speaker of the day, Rebecca, the current MCP of Isaac UK. Woo!
Isaac, this is MCS for Isaac in the UK, and this is our 1920 roll call, win it all.
We got so good, yeah. Got to be strong, got to keep moving on, yeah. The flag on my chest tells us where to go, and we will never walk alone. Oh no, we'll never walk alone. And let's stand up today. Ain't no turning back, we come too far to run away. And our voices on the way, and we can all move out, because a little goes a long, long way away. 'Cause I don't want to marry, so let's enjoy the beauty of life. And we don't need too much, you know, a little goes a long, long way away. We can win it all, yeah, yeah. We got a good thing going on, yeah. Living in the moment right now. Anything that you really want, you can get. Figure this out somehow. How you got me flexing all my skills, yeah, yeah. Testing how I feel, yeah, yeah. I keep on turning my wheels out, yeah. I'm bound to make it back home. I gotta keep it for real, though, yeah. This is now the drill, though, yeah. Push a little up on me, 'cause a little goes a long, long way away. 'Cause out of one comes many, so let's enjoy the beauty of life. And we don't need too much, you know, a little goes a long, long way away. We can win it all, yeah, yeah.
Win it up, win it up. Worldwide, I'ma take on the cup. Blue eyes, I'm like, hey girl, what's up? You can do anything that you want. Win it up, win it up. Try to give the world what it wants. A little more grind, a little more love. 'Cause a little goes a long, long way
away. 'Cause out of one comes many, so let's enjoy the beauty of life. And we don't need too much, you know, a little goes a long, long way away. We can win it all, yeah, yeah.
Isaac UK, top banana, way! Top banana, way! Top banana, wheel, top banana, one more time! Isaac in the UK, and I'm joining you here in London to open day 3 of MilenCo 2020. I hope you enjoyed dancing my roll call. It's been a while since I danced it, so it was very nice to hear, and I hope you are ready for day 3. I spoke with your MC, and they asked me to speak today and to share with you. And I thought, God, what can I share about? What can I talk about which is relevant and useful? And I thought maybe I can share with you a bit of my Isaac experience, and particularly how some of my learnings from the past few years in the organization are especially relevant today. I joined yesterday and heard Ezgi tell her amazing story about her 7-year journey in Isaac. My journey in Isaac is not as long as that. I joined back in January 2017 as a member. So just over 3 years ago. I was a member in IGT. I then became LCVP IGT, MCVP IGT, and I now have the honor of serving Isaac UK as the member committee president for the 1920 term. And so I want to dive a bit deeper into this experience and share with you a story. In fact, I want to share 3 very short stories. And some of the main learnings that I took from each of those experiences and how they're particularly relevant today. So we can start with when I joined. I joined as a member in Isaac in the Netherlands, down in this little red dot at the bottom of the screen in Maastricht. It's very close to Germany, very close to Aachen. I studied abroad in the Netherlands and applied to join Isaac there. And I remember getting the call after my interview, and I'd gone to my interview very positive about exchange. I myself was on a study exchange. I saw how much it changed me and how much it challenged me. And I talked about this with passion in my interview about how I wanted to be a member of OGX so I could support other people going on exchange. And they called me and said, congratulations, you're in the LC, you're an account manager for IGT. I was super confused. I was, what is this? Why am I an IGT? I don't have a business background. And particularly the IGT team in the Netherlands is Dutch speaking. In the south, it's a very like farmer, like a lot of farmland, and there's really not a lot of native English speakers. And so all of our sales meetings, everything we did was in Dutch, and I was terrified. My Dutch was okay, but I felt confident, you know, going to a bar and ordering a beer, not going to a sales meeting and pitching our value proposition to a partner. So I went to my very first functional team meeting, and I was terrified. I remember, I can still right now like go back to that exact moment. I was sitting at a table and we'd had a dinner together, and we were doing a fun get to know game and talking about the Isaac products and doing a very normal first meeting with my functional team. And I'm usually a very outgoing and communicative and talkative person, and I barely spoke for the whole meeting. I was so scared that if I spoke up, I'd say something stupid or mess up my Dutch that I just didn't speak. And this very much set the tone for my first few months of the organization. Every sales meeting I went with somebody else in the team, and I was very nervous about making sales calls, and I used to get someone else to check all my emails before I sent them because I was worried that I was making a lot of grammatical mistakes. And the real turning point was my very first sales meeting. I went by myself. I had to take the bus there. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was a chemical company. And I remember in the bus thinking, like, I'm going to screw this up. What happens if I screw this up and I say something wrong and I embarrass myself and I embarrass Isaac and we lose the partner? And my mind was completely spiraling about all the bad things that could happen. Just because I couldn't communicate properly in the language. So I got there and the man was very friendly. And out of pure panic, I sort of blurted out quickly, this is my first sales meeting in Dutch. In Dutch. And actually, it was great. He said, oh, that's really cool. Where are you from? And I told him I was from Scotland. And in fact, he had been there just a few weeks before. He was a big fan of rugby, and he'd been to Scotland to watch one of the Six Nations rugby games. And we bonded. We talked about some restaurants he'd been to and some things he'd seen in the city. And I shared my favorite places in the city. And in fact, the thing I was most nervous about was the thing which helped me build rapport with the company. And for those of you who are maybe IGT people or sales people or BD, you know that building that rapport and building that relationship is really important in building a sales relationship with somebody. And so I was really, really nervous. But in fact, going to that sales meeting by myself was the thing that paid off. And when I think about this, I categorize it as risk. There was a possibility of something bad happening. This big risk of me going to a company alone, this risk of even putting me in the IGT team where my Dutch wasn't as good as the native Dutch speakers. And so there was a huge risk, but the risk paid off. It was a risk that had to be taken, and it was a risk which in the long term was a great risk for my LC and for me. And so my real learning from my time as a member is this. Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far it is possible to go. For those of you, I know there are some new members, but also some of you who've been in Isaac for some time, have a think. Think about the last time that Isaac pushed you further than you thought you could go. I can guarantee you anyone who's been in this organization for more than a few months knows that something has happened where you thought, I can never do that. And Isaac has shown you that actually you can do that. You've taken that risk, and the risk is paid off. And in fact, I believe so much in the concept of risk that when it came to setting my MC stand, the thing that me and my team will stand for 1 year, it was this. It was take the leap, take the risk, take the leap of faith, because we have confidence in ourselves that the risks we're taking are ones that pay off. And so that's my very first learning to share with you. My second is when I went on to become LCVP. I love the organization so much that I knew I couldn't just stop and leave after being a member, and I wanted to continue. So after joining in January, in June, I became the LCVP IGT for my LC. And the Netherlands is on the old timeline, so they start EB terms in June and finish at the end of May. And my LC was a very mediocre LC. In fact, out of 11 LCs, we were 9th. So not even mediocre, we were pretty low. But we were nice and we're friendly and we're known as being a very international LC. And that was our thing. But exchange wasn't our thing. That's not something we were good at. Our market was too small. Our university had not enough people. There were only 8,000 students. So it was expected that we wouldn't perform. And so then this group of people came in, my incredible EB, and we said, like, screw this. We're here, we're committing 1 year of our lives to this organization. We want to make it stand for something. And so the year before, we'd done 50-ish exchange, and we said we want to do 100. We want to double it. We're doing 100 exchange in our term. We're very confident. We had the plans where we'd do it with IR, we had partnerships with Brazil, partnerships with Guatemala, partnerships with Greece, and we knew it was going to happen. We were very confident. But what ended up happening is that my LCP really struggled with his mental state throughout our term. He was struggling to lead our team. He was struggling to attend our LC events. And for the first 6 months of my term, all we talked about at every LC meeting or every EB meeting was talking about how to support him, how we would manage if he couldn't come to LCM, or how we would manage if he couldn't come to the office for 2 weeks. That was everything we talked about every single Monday for 6 months. And so at the end of winter peak, our first peak as a team, we delivered 15 exchange. We wanted 100. And the reason is because all we talked about, all we focused about was this. Now, unfortunately, my LCP decided to step down from his position in February of our term. And so we had a summer peak ahead with no LCP. We had no one to guide us and no one to lead us. And then this group of people, the 5 here, was the EB that was left over. This picture was taken on a rooftop in Dusseldorf, and we went on EB team days. And we decided, like, we're still here. We still have a summer peak and we still have an LC that we know can do more than it's doing right now. And so we committed to it. We said, we're going to do 100 exchange. And our MC coach told us we were crazy and we should replan and lower our goals. And a lot of the time, if they tell you that, it probably makes sense. But we decided, no, we're going for 100. And we had like these banners everywhere in our LC office. Everywhere we went to, it was 100 exchange. We closed our term with 96 approvals, 3rd ranked nationally. And the reason is because everyone told us, it's fine, your LCP quit, so it's okay if you don't perform this year. It was like the excuse, you know, their LCP wasn't there, so it's okay, and that's that 1 year where it didn't quite work out because of extenuating circumstances. But we didn't let us define us. And looking back, when EBs now look back to our term, they say, what did your term do differently? How did your term change it? Because we're the pinpoint that changed the way that our LC operated. So if I think about my main learning from my EB term, it was about resilience. Particularly part 2 here, the ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. We had a huge change. Our leader stepped down in a leadership organization, and it put us in a situation of misfortune. But we recovered quickly as an EB. I remember very clearly that the song Fight Song became our anthem. Every time we didn't know what we were going to do, we played this song and we got super riled up and we said, okay, we're going to recover from this. We're going to fight back from this. We're going to fix this. And it was that ability and that resilience that led us to become 3rd nationally. The LC who no one thought could do it. And the MCP last year was from my LC, and the MCP elect this year is from my LC, because my LC was developing leadership by developing these skills. And so the quote I'd like to leave you with here is that resilience is accepting your new reality, even if it's less good than the one you had before. You can fight it. You can do nothing but scream about what you've lost, or you can accept that and try to put together something that is good. And that's what we did. We accepted the new reality. We didn't kick and scream and say, it's not fair, our LCP is not here. We accepted it and we made something good for our LC. And so the 3rd story I'd like to share is my current experience. After being an LCVP in the Netherlands, I joined the MC of the UK. I came home last year and I was MCVP IGT. And then I stepped up to become the MCP of Isaac in the UK. I never really thought I was a P profile, but it's been a huge honor. And I have hundreds of learnings. I could fill every single opening of and closing of MilenCo with the learnings I got from my MCP experience. But there's one in particular that I really want to share. I knew coming into my term that it would be a very challenging year for my entity. And I felt like I was the kind of leader who could take on the challenge, but I had no idea quite how big that challenge would be. On the 31st of January 2020, just a few months ago, at 11 p.m. exactly, two things happened. The first thing was that I poured water on my successor and passed on the leadership and guaranteed leadership for the future of my entity. The second thing that happened at exactly 11 p.m. is that the UK left the European Union. I studied abroad in the Netherlands on an Erasmus programme from the European Union. I have a master's in European law, and I'm passionate about the rights that we are given as a member of the European Union. And so coming into this term, knowing that was gone was something that broke my heart. It posed so many difficulties. It was a lot of logistical issues. We could no longer run IGV because we were using free movement of people as the reason to be able to run the programme. The vast majority of people that we had coming to us on IGT programs, some of our top partners, only were coming from Europe. And so there were these logistical issues that we had to tackle. But for me, there was a bigger issue than just logistics. There was the issue that this was a very clear sign that my country needed Isaac. The big thing that was missing was cross-cultural understanding. I keep thinking, what happens if the leaders in government today had been on exchange with Isaac 20 years ago? Would they still be fighting for Brexit? Would they still be fighting to close us off and to go more forward with nationalist trends? If Isaac had been around and had been making a big enough impact then, would we still be in the position we're in? But I also saw it as a huge opportunity. For me, it wasn't just about how challenging it would be that Brexit was here, but it was about saying, okay, we have the opportunity to change mindsets. We have the opportunity to change how people in our country view the rest of the world. My mantra, the reason for being, my thing I wanted to do as an MCP was that even though my country had closed its borders, I did not want my country to close its minds. And so that's been my major learning as an MCP. And it can be categorized as positivity. The practice of being or tendency to be positive or optimistic attitudes. This is not being naive and being so positive you can't see the downside. It's not about finding the glass half full in every situation, but it's about seeing a challenge and saying, okay, how can we use this? How can we see this as something we can learn from? And so the quote I want to leave you with for this is, what is the difference between an obstacle and an opportunity? Our attitude toward it. Every opportunity has a difficult, and every difficulty has an opportunity. So if I have to summarize my Isaac experience, and the three learnings I think are the most important for Isaac right now, is these three things. It's about taking risk, it's about being resilient, and about positivity. But that's something that Isaac has been doing for the past 70 years. We developed these 4 qualities in everyone that interacts with Isaac, whether it's an EP, whether it's a member, whether it's a partner that can learn about our LDQs. We ensure that people who come into the organization leave being more self-aware, being better world citizens, being more solution-oriented and empowering others. But to break that down more specifically, there's one quality that I think we have to focus on now more than ever. My favorite one is about being solution-oriented. And when we say solution-oriented, what we mean is that someone adapts and shows resilience in the face of challenges. It's about somebody transmitting positivity to move forward through uncertainty. It's about taking risks when needed. 3 learnings I've had from my entire Isaac experience. But why now more than ever are these important? When we talk about taking risks, we said only those who can risk going too far can possibly find out how far it is to possibly go. Right now, we have so much uncertainty that everything we do is a risk. But it's about working out which risks are worth taking and which are not. Your MC is currently in the middle of delivering its first ever virtual conference. That is a huge risk. There are technical risks, there's all the effort put in and what doesn't work, it's how do we ensure delegate engagement, and what's actually happened is you have 600 delegates online watching this conference. That's a risk that paid off. When we talk about resilience, we talk about accepting our new reality, even if it's less good than the one we had before. We know that right now, this is not the ideal summer peak. We know that this is not what we saw in our EB terms, in our MT terms. We wanted to grow and deliver so much. And right now we can't do that. But we can fight it. We can say, I'm done. This is it. I'm out. Over. Like, we can kick and scream and say that the pandemic has ruined our Isaac experience, or we can accept it. And we put together something that's good. Your term is not defined by one peak. And so it's about working out how we can do this, that on September 1st, as soon as we can start the exchange again, something good is in place to make sure we can deliver what we promise to deliver, leadership. And we talk about the difference between obstacle and opportunity. That's exactly right now. Are we right now facing an obstacle, or are we right now facing opportunity? Or is it both? It's about our attitudes. We can moan and grump every single day about how this is the hugest obstacle that Isaac has ever faced, but it's also teaching us so many things. It's teaching us how we can virtually engage people all across the world. It's teaching us how to be collaborative. It's teaching us how we can use different channels to achieve the same results. And it's teaching us how leadership should look like, or can look like, in 2020, which is something that without this, maybe we'd have been stuck in our own ways. And so when I think about my major learnings as an Isaacer, of course, it always comes down to our blueprint. It comes down to our Isaac why, but it comes down especially to these 4 things about the qualities we develop and how they make us a better leader for the future. So as you go forward today into your hackathon and also into the coming weeks and the coming months, I would really encourage you to find that inner solution orientation and channel it. Think about how you can see things positively. Think about what risks you can take, and think about how you can be resilient so that even when life throws you all the crazy things, you continue to do what we have been doing for the past 70 years, delivering exchanges and delivering leadership. So before I let you go, I want to leave you with a very final piece of very British Isaac UK wisdom. It's on the back of my shirt, but I have one to show you here. This is our motto, our mantra as an entity. Keep calm, carry on, and change lives. Enjoy day 3 of MilenCo Isaac in Germany. It was great to be with you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rebecca, for being with us. We are very excited to have you here, and we wish you a great day. Bye-bye. Before we continue with the announcement of what is very, very exciting and happening today, we'll have a roll call, so stay tuned. Bye-bye, Rebecca. See you.
Hello guys, this is Ezgi, MCP of Isaac in Turkey, and here we are dancing our roll call, MC1718 roll call for Isaac in Turkey. I hope you're gonna like it and you're gonna enjoy the dance with us.
I like a bomba. Like a bomba. I like a bomba. Don't girl, why don't you leave me alone? Don't bother follow me, I don't grab on my phone. I don't wanna know what you are doing, and I don't wanna know where you are going, so leave me alone. You say you're dirty and your time ready pass. Jumping at me car, but you never even ask. Try run away, but hey girl, you pass. Don't understand that your time, girl, don't pass. You don't understand, I mean I wanna do it. You want every step you're taking is a step against you. Dirty, me tell you, say me don't need it. Dirty, but hey girl, you don't believe it. Try you the melody, yeah. Matter who the parliament, matter who the parliament. Dimanga matut, dimanga tut me. Try you the melody, yeah. Matter who the parliament, matter who the parliament. Dimanga matut, dimanga tut me. Try you the melody, yeah. Like a bomba. You say you're dirty and your time ready pass. Jumping at me car, but you never even ask. Try to run away, but hey girl, you pass. Yeah, yeah. Don't understand that your time, girl, don't pass. You don't understand, I mean I wanna
step you're taking is a step against you. Dirty, me tell you, say me don't need it. Dirty, but hey, cause you don't believe it. You don't understand, I mean, I want me to do it. So every step you're taking is a step against you. Dirty, me tell you, say me don't need it. Dirty, but hey, cause you don't believe it.
Mama, mama. Şairi memaliye, madde hurde palamande, madde hurde palamande, limana vakut vakut. Şairi memaliye, madde hurde palamande, madde hurde palamande, limana vakut vakut. Çayuriye melaliye.
Month waiting for something very, very big. And now, as long as the presentation is still on the way, you can already start getting fired up. Because the moment has come. The moment you've been waiting for your whole life. The moment that you wished for since you've been around 2 years old. The moment that you will never forget and you will tell to your children and grandchildren and grandchildren. Your moment. Our moment. Because it is the Hackathon! Woo! Welcome to the Hackathon 2020! I hope you didn't get deaf after my screaming. And this is definitely the mood that you need to keep up today, the whole day. You will be doing a lot of cool actions inside of your LCs. So get excited for what will come. I'll just very quickly guide you through what will be happening today. Let's go. Next slide. So first of all, you're asking yourself, what is actually the hackathon? The hackathon is a very, very cool thing that will give you as an LC the chance to win something in the end. So a lot of LCs, all of the LCs are... I'm out of breath from jumping here on the couch. All of the LCs all around Germany are competing today for which LC will do the biggest amount of actions and will achieve the biggest amount of results through doing this kind of actions. So by the end of the day, in the closing of today, you will see which LC was actually the winner and the champion of all these actions that were happening in the hackathon. Click. So, why do we have a hackathon? While we cannot go out on the street, while we all sit at home, we wanted to create the atmosphere of the conference, because usually on conferences you have this kind of people who've been on the grind, you know this feeling, you're together with the LC, you're competing, you're getting out there, you're actually like on the stadium, like the Olympians in the past in ancient Greece, you're competing against others to win the gold. So the hackathon is the way for you from one side to compete and to bond with your LC, and from the other side, of course, to learn a lot of practical skills that will make you a better ice hacker and better human being. Yes. Next, how does hackathon work? There is a tool where you need to put every single... I don't see where... where you need to put every single action that you will be doing during the hackathon, so that in the end we can calculate who is the best. There are a lot of actions. There is like a checklist of a lot of things that you can do during today, so that you can get the points. There will be also a very special announcement right now in a second, but your VP already knows how the things work. If you have any kind of questions, then just write me a personal message or write in the groups, and we'll answer you as soon as possible, so that you can compete on the highest possible level. Click. And we have one special present for you. There will be a lot of pictures for Instagram and for Facebook sharing and so on and so on and so on that you can use and that you can find under this link, webinar sl.isaac.de webinar/promo. Just go there, find them, adapt them, make a copy before adapting them. Just put the name of the webinar, put the link that you create through sl.isaac.de. Don't put like this huge HTTPS Google Docs link to your webinar, but put the short link through the sl.isaac.de. And then you're ready to go. You can share them on Instagram, you can share whatever you want. As more you share, as more points you get. And for the covers of your Facebook, of LinkedIn and so on, you can use the just the webinar covers, just change them, adapt them to your local webinars, and this will work out like this for you. Beautiful. Something else? Yes, just shortly the agenda. Right now we're in the opening, then you'll have the intro from your LC, so that you can clarify the last things that you still need to align together with your people, with your teams. Then the action part of the hackathon will start. It goes from 11:30 to 14:30. So in this time frame, every action counts and everything that you're doing is counted. Don't forget to give to each other feedback, reflect on how you work together. But by 14:30, we'll stop the counter for all the actions that you will be doing. So also for webinar registration at 14:30, we'll be exporting the tool and we'll be counting the points. In the closing, in the end, you have the closing of your LC after all the actions are done, and then there will be a national closing, after which you will know which LC actually won. So get excited for this. I hope that your LC will be on the top, but in the end it's up to you if you will win or not, up to how many actions you will actually do. Are you ready to become the champion of the hackathon? So the answer is usually born ready, so you can do it for the conference feeling inside of your room right now. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you fucking ready? Let's go with the hackathon!
Yeah.
Die kommen mich an und sie bringen mich den Verstand. Heute schneit es 100 Gramm, no Sekunde, tamam, tamam. Hab eine Mali, rock your body. Durch die Stadt im Ferrari mit Kachbass und Barbies zu einer 80er-Party. Red nicht von an, der Beat geht babam, babam. Beste Ware aus Amsterdam, easy, easy, tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Easy, easy. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Tamam, tamam. Easy, easy. Tamam, tamam. Egal wo ich hingehe, ich werd erkannt. Frag mal warum, weil ich bin bekannt. Nobo Malibu, wer kann, der kann. Easy, easy. Tamam, tamam. Pronto, pronto, Babantilan, komm mir nicht mit falan filan. Eine Faust, dein Koffer, Sedan. No Sekunde, tamam, tamam. Hab eine Mali, rock your body. Fahr mit Hassan und Ali auf Schnaps und Bacardi zu einer 80er-Party.